Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about exploring Kalimdor. Now, I got this book because I saw there was a lot of controversy about it, and to be honest, it's just wrong. It's people making a mountain out of a molehill, or how we in Romania say they're jumping the horse. Like, it's not as bad as you think. Like, I think people just got lost in all the images that were leaked, and that's it. Because the book by itself is okay. It's an okay book. Don't expect it to be Illidan or Wolf's Heart, I think it was. The one with Varian. Gotta check the library. Gotta check my library again for that one. Anyway, don't expect it to be something amazing, but it's okay. It's basically in the same vein of Shadows Rising. How much nepotism came into play for exploring Kalimdor, we don't really know, but we know that it happened for Shadows Rising. Allegedly. Everything's alleged here with this case. So let's go through Shadows Rising. God damn it. Let's go through exploring Kalimdor. Why not? And there are a few observations I have to make. First of all, that Blizzard needs to pick a better editor for their books. This one is horribly edited. The images are nice and all, but whenever you start a new thing, a new page, it would always capitalize the first letter of the phrase and stuff. And trying to give it a more ancient look, when you have that bigger, fancier letter at the beginning of every page. Well, not only is the fancy letter an image, that's not a letter from writing. That's an image. Not only is it an image, which makes it kind of weird, that you can tell that the image isn't even centered properly, which means every huge letter in this book just puts itself above words. I have one word is an I above the word elves. I have one where there was was it again? A W. The W's are easy ones. Trust me, W's are easy one to read because of their form. But harder letters like N, that's awful. Like T, for example, I have an example right here in front of me, about the Black Phantom Depths. It starts with the Night Elves called Black Phantom Depths by a different name, and then you see that the T is blocking away the word there. That's horrible. Oh my god! I wouldn't judge an indie author, or I wouldn't judge an indie company that would do that. Goddamn phone. But we're not talking about indie companies with this one. We're talking about big companies. We're talking about Blizzard at this point. Which, the expectations should be lowered. I understand that. But still, don't do that. There's fonts and stuff, Blizzard. You don't have to put an image there so it blocks the words. And if you're gonna put an image, at least center it properly. God damn it. Now that's one of my biggest gripes with the book. Another one is that in the beginning kind of jumps all over the place in Durotar. So not really okay. This is Orgrimmar. These are the valleys. It goes like the first thing you read about, or maybe it's just my Kindle being stupid, is about Quillboars. Honestly, I think I should know about the Horde first before I know about Quillboars if I read this book. Because I think this book is trying to teach new people to put on some more extra lore out there for us veterans. But it's kind of stupid to start with a Quillboar. Just trust me, the people that like Quillboars are so tiny in number that I think you can count them on your hand. And I don't think it's important for the history of the Horde and the history of Kalimdor to start with the Quillboars. And then go to Orgrimmar, Durotar, Razor Hill, what was it called? The Valley of Honor, the Valley of Strength, the Valley of Wisdom. And I think it's better if you just put the Quillboars later on, So another gripe I have with it is kind of jumpy in the beginning. It gets more stable once you start talking about night elves and Draenei. That really seems to be well made, or somebody, or put it properly. That is. Now about the contents, to be honest, it's, as I said, it's okay. The writing's pretty decent. It's from an what do you call it, a troll perspective. And because of that, you would expect it to have more trollish accents with more D's instead of they, does, and stuff. But I mean, it works at this point. Like, if it's not like they butchered the game enough. So, yeah, okay, he talks more normal than you would expect a normal troll. Big deal. It works. It's decent at least. Sometimes in the book you will get messages from random characters that appear in the book, because Exploring Kalimdor is a book where you read about Zekan's and Rexar's journey through Kalimdor, and as going through Kalimdor, they meet members races that live in Kalimdor. Well, some races. They don't really want to meet the Night Elves right now. And at some point in the book, you get messages like there's one from Gazlo, there's one from Nobundo. I think there was one more, I forgot. Anyway, so that's a pretty nice touch. Gazlo's message was funny in the beginning, because he's a goblin, duh. And yeah, it's just okay. But I guess now it's time to discuss the big elephant in the room. The racismus of it. The racial stereotypes of the Horde races. Honestly, if you see this, just know one thing. It's a video game. Some races will be better portrayed than others because some writers are better than others. Some writers prefer one thing over the other. Don't believe me? Look at what Matt Ward did for the Ultramarines and the Grey Knights during his time as writer at Games Workshop. Yeah, that's good, right? No. Just know this. It's a video game. People will get offended by it because why wouldn't they? It's easy to be offended and not understand something or like it. God knows it is. And anyway, it's not a big deal. Whatever people are complaining about, they're making molehills. They're making mountains out of molehills, jumping the horse, as we say in Romania. It just is what it is, you know. People are like, no, they changed the goblins. No, what about my wholesome goblins? Yeah, goblins were always greedy as a race. Some were better than others, true, but that's their main characteristic. Anyway, one of the biggest controversies that Lortimor, the Blood Elf Regent, taught Zekan how to read and write, which I find it really funny, because it's an elf teaching a troll how to write. The fact that elves are teaching trolls how to write is a funny concept if you know the lore, and if you know all the struggles the elves had to endure with the trolls. Especially the Blood Elves. But now they're just gonna call it racismus, because it's the white savior complex. Because Lortimar couldn't be a good person and teach, you know, some troll tribe, somebody from a troll tribe to write. Here's a funny thing. Until recently, the Darkspear tribe is a backwater tribe. Think about it. They were exiled from their homeland or whatever, sent to live on some islands, and their islands got blown up and conquered by Nagas and Murlocs until Troll came and saved them. They haven't really had a home until Cataclysm, but that might be less relevant since we live in a post-Cataclysm world now more than we ever lived in a pre-Cataclysm world. So yeah, they didn't have a world. They didn't have their own place until Cataclysm. That took them a while. By itself, it isn't really the only backwater troll tribe, or wasn't at that point. Wasn't. You still have the Smolderthorn tribe in Blackrock Mountain, if I remember. You had what was it called? There was another tribe that was allied with the Horde, and the Alliance kind of exterminated them at some point. I think during Cataclysm that happened. Anyway, I don't understand why people really get that high up for what's basically a race that its most civilized members just appeared into the world. They're trolls. What do you expect? Anyway, man, you could expect a lot from Blizzard, but crying about how an elf taught a troll how to write, that's kind of lame. People complain about the wholesome goblin. No, my wholesome goblin. No, he's racism. He beats his workers. Yeah, he also do that in the orc starting zone. Do people even remember the orc starting zone nowadays? I think everybody just goes to Exile's Reach and just blasts through it. Yeah, well, goodbye, Kalimdor. That was a good way to explore Kalimdor, in fact, the orc starting zone. It would have been nice to do something with that, rather than make this okay-ish book and that triggered people. And that's the funny part. People get so easily upset and annoyed, and they start putting up a fuss and complaining and stuff on the internet. And you know what? I'm guilty of that too. I'm giving you that. I'm guilty of that as well. Because why wouldn't I be? It's fun to mock people, laugh at characters I dislike, want their head on a pike. I'm still waiting for the head of all the Horde races on a pike. Yeah, so you know, things are good. Yeah, this was supposed to be about exploring Kalimdor, but I just went on a rampage with it, on a rant with it. Going back, the book itself has no problem, unless you're just one of those people that are looking directly to be offended by something. They are gonna be probably okay with it. As I said, it's not the best Warcraft book out there, far from it. But it's not this monument of racismus that people complain about. It's just okay, and the author, I think Cian Copland, what was his name? Let me check real quick. Where do I have it? Not here, that is. Kindle. And I went too far. Let's see. Come on. Show me the author. Oh no, that's... Anyway, the author is pretty okay with this. He knows his job, how to write, and well, that's a dying tradition lately. And he did pretty okay with what he was given. Quite frankly, I wouldn't say he's the best Warcraft writer. There's a long way to go. Even Kristen Golding, with all her problems recently, from my point of view, still manages to hold the bar pretty high. So yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't recommend getting it at this price. I got it like an ebook for $20. I would recommend waiting for a sale on it. Find it cheaper in the bargain or something, you know, rather just then going and paying $20 for it. In my opinion, it's worth $15 or $10. That works. $20 seems to be on the more higher side from my point of view. So yeah, get it. It's an okay book. Get it at a discount, or if you really are a big fan of Kalimdor and want to see what it has, get it at this price. So I wouldn't recommend it. And enjoy it. It's pretty good, in fact. You also get fun clips with Zekan's and Rexar's relationship along the way. Like, you really see they're having fun with it, or Zekan is having fun with it, and listening to old stories. The funniest part is when Misha is mentioned, from my point of view. And I really, if you're gonna get it for any reason at $20, get it for the Misha parts, because you will learn an important lesson. You do not upset the bear. Anyway, thanks for watching.